It is playoff time, ladies and gentlemen. The Stanley Cup Playoffs starts this weekend. This is the hockey show. My name is Roy Bellamy. That's David Jork, Hockey News. Rosie and Ethan in the other studio.
Playoffs.
Playoffs are here.
Yes.
Here are the matchups. Toronto, Ottawa, Tampa, Florida, Washington, Montreal, Carolina, New Jersey. In the West, Winnipeg, St. Louis, Dallas, Colorado, Vegas, Minnesota, and Los Angeles and Edmonton.
When was the last one again?
Los Angeles and Edmonton.
What year is it?
4.
Oh, my gosh. I'm excited, though. I think the Kings are going to do it this year.
Oh, wow. That would be great.
Just right off the bat.
I want to pick them so bad.
No, I think the Kings
and
are
I
gonna
just
do it.
can't bring myself to do it because how hasn't everybody said for the last 3 years now, this is the year the Kings are going to do it. They're going to take down the Oilers.
I don't know.
And then Draisaitl scored 54 goals or whatever it was
You know
this
what
year,
the
and
good
McDavid, 100-point
There's
season
good news.
in like 70 games. Like,
The good news, if the Kings make it, the Oilers don't. So we don't have to go.
Do I have to go to Edmonton?
Yeah, exactly.
I do want the Kings to actually go to the Stanley Cup final because I want to go to Los Angeles.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be a great scene out there. They
That
haven't
would be
won since when?
awesome.
2013, I think, or 2014?
2014.
Yeah,
They
when
won in
two
2012 and 2014.
Twice in
We
4
can
years.
go to the
Yeah.
Friends thing and drink a coffee together and do the
You know, the
Hollywood.
Friends was on TV. It wasn't real.
Barely.
Yeah,
drink
but they
coffee.
had the Hollywood tour.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah, there
I
you
have
go.
a picture of myself on the set.
There you go.
But there was no coffee. It was just the set.
I've never watched an episode of Friends.
Rose is looking at me like I just told her there's no Santa
Oh,
Claus.
wow.
You've never watched an episode of Friends?
No,
Like,
it
not
doesn't.
even just it's on TV
How is
and you
that
just
possible?
caught
That's
it?
gotta
You've
be
never
right.
seen one episode.
That's my
doesn't-
fail of the week.
You can kiss my ass. It doesn't play to my constituency. All right, that's not a show that
Friends
I watch.
plays to
Doesn't
everybody's
agree with his
constituency.
What are you talking about? Everybody's okay. All right.
Friends
fine.
is Friends.
I mean,
Whose
it's
Friends
like
are we
saying-
talking about,
It's like
though?
saying you've never
I
watched
mean, I
Seinfeld.
understand what you're getting at, Roy. I'm just saying that Friends, there's something for everybody.
Yeah, I watched Seinfeld.
No, but I'm
that's
saying
fine.
I did I'm not a fan. Friends is fine. I have nothing against Friends, but I'm not like seeking it out. But at the same time, I've seen probably 100 episodes over the last 30 some odd years. I mean, I have a TV.
All right. Well, shout out to Aisha Tyler. That's all I have to say. Last night was the end of the regular season for the Washington Capitals, and they played the Penguins. All right, let's just get that out of the way. All right, it's not like we've seen the Capitals and Penguins on national TV enough over
Once
the
or
past
twice.
20 years. But anyway, that's how they ended the season. Alexander Ovechkin ended the season with his 897th goal of his career. So that's where we're at right now with the Ovechkin watch, and now it's officially playoff time, so those goals do not count towards
He's going to
his
hit
career.
1,000.
Yeah.
I think he's going to hit 1,000.
You
Well, he
honestly
said
think
he's
he's
not-
going to play for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's so what? He's 103. Yeah, he needs.
He
3
said
years.
he's not retiring, and his contract, I believe, is up after next season.
Oh, they'll keep paying him as long as
I
he
know
wants to
they'll
keep
keep paying him
1
as
year-
long as he wants to keep playing,
1
but
year
he's going to need to
contracts.
play. He's probably going to need to play at least 3 more
Yeah, I
seasons
think
to
3
reach 1,000
seasons.
goals, right?
Well,
Yeah.
what 103? So he would need to average about 34, 33 and a half, whatever it is. I'm trying to do math on the fly here, but that's doable, I think, for Ovi.
Yeah. Real quick, what do you want to talk about the Wild for?
I wanted to talk about Marc-André Fleury, who played his last regular season game the other night against Anaheim in Minnesota. He didn't start. Philip Gustafson started, but the game went to overtime, and the Wild put him out there for overtime, and what ended up being a shootout. He comes in cold off the bench. He makes 2 amazing saves right off the bat, wins the game. They do the handshake afterwards for him. It was just such a cool thing for a goalie who's been around forever. For the fact that he's like pushing 40 and he's still like maybe the most athletic goaltender in the NHL. Like just watching him play, it's amazing what he's been able to do with his body and his career. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Fleury. I've been a huge fan of his since he came in, and I was searching for his rookie cards back in the day. So I just thought that was really cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if his post-playing career is in line with Roberto Luongo. Maybe it'll be a high-ranking front office employee somewhere.
You would think he could do like if you wanted to go into hockey ops, if you wanted to go into broadcasting, like he's got that kind of a personality and he's got the kind of hockey knowledge. You think the sky's the limit.
All right. It's time for wins and fails of the week. It's presented by Jägermeister. Serve it cold or don't serve it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold for more. Visit Jägermeister.com. Drink responsibly. Dave, what's your win of the week?
My win of the week is for all of us. We are all winners this
All
week,
winners.
and it's because of the next great superstar in the NHL, and that's Gavin McKenna. He's 17. He's not eligible for the NHL draft until next summer. This is how good this kid is. He's already viewed as the number one guy.
Oh, wow.
He scored 2 goals this week in the WHL playoffs. He plays for the Medicine Hat.
Yeah, the Tigers, yeah.
And they're playing against Prince Albert. And I think they swept them last night in the second round. But he scored 2 goals this week. One of them was the one we just showed, where it was a shorthanded goal. He deked around like 4 guys in the slot before sniping the goalie. And then he did a Michigan goal like 2 days later, which we were talking about it the other day. Like the Michigan stuff is just, it's becoming too common. Yeah, it's becoming too easy. They need to have something new. But it's just like what this kid is doing. I'm excited to see how the next year plays out for him. But watch out, NHL. Gavin McKenna is he's coming.
All right, my winner of the week this week is real deserving for this guy, Gabriel Landeskog. He suffered a horrific injury in 2020 when a skate sliced him just above his knee, and he's had multiple surgeries. And now it's time to get back in the game now. It's his first game in 3 years. His first game in 3 years when he accepted a conditioning assignment with the Colorado Eagles. Following the game, his teammates celebrated him in the locker room. Take a listen.
How many goals? I was asked out there what my goal was with the first game. I don't really have much. Just go out there and enjoy it. And you guys made it easy to go out there and enjoy it. You guys have a special group in here. Thank you for welcoming me with open arms. Obviously, it's been a long road for me, but this isn't about me. This is just about what a community and what a lot of people can do. And I've felt the support from all over the place for years. Once again, thank you for making this a very special night.
Landeskog's next game, with the Eagles, he would end up scoring a goal. So it's like he almost never left. So he is now called up by the Avalanche to play in the playoffs, and he will start with the big club against the Dallas Stars this weekend.
It's really cool. Like I honestly doubted whether this day would ever come for him. I hoped it would. It was just such a long road. I'm super excited for him.
Yeah, so am I.
Love it.
Good for him, and I'm very happy for him to be back in the fold. That's going to be an interesting matchup, and we're going to talk to Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean of What Chaos about the playoff matchups. Stars Avalanche is going to be a good one.
It is the Rantanen Bowl.
Yes, that's the other thing I wanted to talk to him. Those are X factors right there. The comeback of Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen playing his old team, and we'll talk to them about that. Rose, you'll win.
I have a win of the week.
Yeah, that's why
Tim
I went to you.
Allen confirms that in Toy Story 5, Woody and Buzz Lightyear are going to reunite. So how about that?
Are they going to play hockey in Toy Story 5?
I don't know, but they're going to
why'd you bring that
We're
up?
going to have a reunion. That's my
Spoiler
win of the
alert!
week.
I didn't know that they broke up.
Of course, Toy Story 4, he stayed with his woman and then they went back to Andy.
His woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't
Toys.
he? Yeah, he's with Bo Peep.
You need to watch 4. Okay.
I need to watch 1.
Oh wait, which one has a woman? Is Woody's with
Woody.
Bo
You've
Peep,
never
right?
seen Toy Story?
No,
So you've never seen Friends or Toy Story?
that's correct.
Have you seen The Incredibles?
I have, yes.
Okay, that's good.
Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Fuck no.
Harry Potter?
No.
Okay, let's go to the fails,
established.
please.
All right,
because this is just
yeah. You got like 5 fails for me. Fails
Yeah,
of the week,
go
Dave.
fails.
My fail of the week. Another cell phone ended up on the ice last week. I know we talked about it a couple months ago or whatever when it happened in the KHL where some guy's phone fell out of his gear during a game. It happened again. This time it happened at Women World Championships over in Chechnya. Carolyn Harvey from Team USA got bumped in the corner and her cell phone popped out. Like, are players? Is that like a normal thing these days? Are like players keeping their phones in their gear during games, measuring analytics? Or I don't know, but why is this happening? I don't. Maybe I'm a goalie and I think like if I have my phone on me during a game, it's going to get shattered and destroyed. But this makes no sense to me. Why does this keep happening?
I have 2 questions. Why not wear a watch that's the accessory that goes with the phone that they can measure those analytics? And where do you keep the phone?
Right.
Like,
I don't
you
have
keep it in your
pockets in
pants?
my gear.
There's no pockets there. Do you keep it in your pads? Do you keep it under your under your helmet?
No.
Like wait, in the sleeve. What
In the locker
elbow
room.
pad?
Yes.
In the locker room.
You keep it in the locker room.
You
Exactly.
keep where you keep it is the water. Where you keep the water bottles behind the bench. That's where you keep it. But
Oh, they got iPads now.
You
Yeah,
don't
they
need
got
it in the
iPads,
bench.
yeah.
I don't think you need it in the bench. You don't need it for anything. You're playing, so I would leave it in the locker room, because imagine if someone sits in it or it falls.
Sits
and
on
you-
it.
Yeah, sits on it and it falls or you lose it.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
know about losing things. So
Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah, just leave it in the locker room.
God.
Dave's right, though. I mean, if they're keeping analytics on, body
But
stuff.
yeah, but they have things for that. They put things in jerseys, and like I don't really understand. Like, why do we need cell phone? I don't get it, really.
All right, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Is
either.
Apple sponsoring? They just don't care about their phone's quality. My phone gets destroyed, whatever. I'll get a new one.
My fail of the week is an NHL first. For the first time in league history, we will not see the New York Rangers, Boston Bruins, or Pittsburgh Penguins in the playoffs.
Wow, that's interesting.
You're happy.
Yeah, I'm
That's not
happy
a
for
fail.
that.
That's a win for everybody, dude. We don't have to
No,
watch,
it's a fail for them.
We don't have to watch Crosby and Pasternak and Panarin.
And it's a fail for the Penguins, especially.
Definitely.
But yeah, I have to laugh at that. And also, for the final time God damn it. For the final time this season, I will continue the streak of me shitting on the New York Islanders because they sound racist. Because on Saturday they lost 4-3 to the Philadelphia Flyers of all teams.
Nice.
The sorry-ass Islanders were eliminated from playoff contention. And maybe they will rectify in the offseason what they did this season by, again, pulling this idiot off the scrap heap for his 5th or 6th chance in this league. Maybe they will rectify it. But for right now, ha-ha, hee-hee, ha-ha-ha, ha-ho, ha-ho. Rose.
Yeah, my fail of the week. It's Roy's lack of movie and TV show knowledge. So we're gonna talk to Adnan about it when we get him here, because that cannot happen.
All right,
yeah, that was my fail of the week. Thank you.
Adnan's on next week, so we'll talk to him about. It's not lack. Have you watched the LeBatard show, for crying out loud? I know about.
Lack. We can just put it with lack. Okay.
I disagree. I firmly disagree.
Rose,
Agree.
true or false? There was an NHL goalie whose last name was Lack.
True.
Good girl.
All right. For those who are watching on DraftKings Network, you can find our interview with the hosts of What Chaos, Pete Blackburn and David Bean. That's David J. Bean. We call him DJ. So you can watch that. And the rest of the show, we're going to go over the Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida Panthers playoff matchup here in the first round. And the fact that there are people that are predicting that the Lightning are going to win this series is really making me angry. Really, really making me angry. What are we doing here?
Somebody's bound to pick against the Panthers.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. But I'm biased. What can I tell you? Play the sound. Biased.
There you go.
Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean coming up next. As we mentioned earlier, we have the Stanley Cup playoffs happening, right? We know that. We're about to get into this thing. We're going to get in depth.
Why are you using the Power Love Hour voice for this?
Yeah, it is.
Like, all of a sudden, you're like, it's time for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Panic is coming.
It's a quiet storm. That's what.
Yeah, right?
All right. We have Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean from What Chaos is a spectacular hockey show that they do basically every single day. I can't do a daily show about hockey with Rose, and I can't do it. But David Dwork was on the show last week, and DJ had mentioned that his favorite person on our show is not me, it's not Dave, and it's sure as fuck not Ethan.
I didn't even get mentioned, so I noticed that.
No, his favorite person on the show is Rose. Why is that, DJ?
First of all, Rose, we've never met. What up, legend? I think it is so funny that I just think it's so funny that you're a producer of a show and you're like, I will produce the show.
Right?
That's it. And I will kill producing the show. I will do a great job at that. You talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'll be over here producing the show. And because we bug our producers so much for like takes and ideas and everything. And like, hey, what do you think of this thing? It would be the best if we were like, yo, Sean, how do you feel about the Sabres? And he was like, Jason Zucker's on that team. Back to you.
Yeah, at least I told them that Toy Story 5 is gonna have a reunion with Woody and Buzz Lightyear.
But this is a hockey show.
Yeah,
We're
they
not
would-
talking about that
you
or
wouldn't
Lord of
know
the
that.
Rings or Harry Potter.
If it was not for me, you wouldn't know that. So yeah, I agree with you.
See, the story about Rose becoming our producer, we covered the All-Star game in Toronto. No, it's a Hall of Fame induction of Roberto Luongo in Toronto. That's what happened. She was our video producer, and that's how she became our lead producer on this show. You know, it just happens to be that she was assigned.
They love me.
We did have fun in Toronto.
Yes,
Exactly.
we did. We had fun in Toronto.
I mean, Rose goes to Toronto at the end of November and doesn't bring any winter gear.
Yeah.
She had to borrow a winter hat and stuff like that. But I mean,
That,
that
I,
was
I,
the
I
beginning.
couldn't have predicted anything less than Rose being completely unprepared to go to Toronto in November.
and losing stuff. And that's basically what happened.
Well, moving on.
It's also worth noting, prolific music producer Rick Rubin
Yeah.
famously knows absolutely nothing about music, and in fact actually knows nothing about recording music, and has produced some of the greatest songs ever. So maybe you don't need it.
Can
the
you
vibes
imagine
guy.
winning Grammys, knowing nothing about what you won,
I'm just
basically.
I'm just saying something. Like it's been 3 minutes and we've been talking about me, not hockey. So I'm doing my job.
All right, yeah,
That's-
yeah.
that's
Center
very
of
accurate.
attention over here, Rose. How about we actually do what?
Yeah,
the
no
title
need to
says?
inflate her ego anymore.
Can we get back to the sexy playoff talk?
Oh, sexy playoff talk.
Yeah.
All right, Capitals and Blue Jackets last week.
It's not very sexy.
Oh no. All right, before we get into the playoffs, how does this happen? Dmitry Voronkov received a 10-minute misconduct with 9:42 left, so he was ineligible. He was done for the game. But apparently nobody knew, and when the officials knew, when they noticed this is what happened. Please play the video with sound.
Now the players are trying to figure out.
Columbus, number 10, received a 10-minute misconduct earlier in the period. He was no longer eligible, and then he was on the ice, so there was an illegal player for Columbus on the ice. They have a minor penalty for an illegal player, and number 10 for Columbus is still removed from the hockey game.
That's about as major of a screw-up as there is.
See,
Nobody on the team knew.
He stopped being a referee for a second and just became a dad, because that's how you explain something to your kid. He got kicked out of the game, but he's still here. Now he's got to go to his room.
Go to the corner.
That was weird.
Fellas, what do you think about this? Because it either it's the referee's fault for not telling the team, or it's the team's fault, or at least the coach's fault for not noticing that there was a 10-minute misconduct on the log.
Pete, you take it.
I think it's funny you said this is about as big a screw up as you can have, because I think like 2 days later, there was literally 2 referees staring at a shootout attempt that went directly into the back of the net, and somehow neither one of them noticed that the puck went into the back of the net. So just an incredible week for referees just not noticing crap and doing their jobs when it's right in front of them. But like at least this one was way funnier, because Voronkov is like one of the funniest guys in the NHL. I would not be surprised if he just knew that he wasn't supposed to be there, decided to stay. And when you look at like the reaction from the Columbus bench, everybody was laughing, including Dean Evison. They were just like, this guy rocks. He's hilarious. We can't control him.
Dean Evison, who has never laughed once in his life, was laughing. And as Pete said, Voronkov is known as the funniest guy on that team, which is odd because he doesn't speak the primary language of that team, which is English. However, and I'm not trying to like get high on our own supply here, we had him on our show and we learned that, yes, he could use a translator, but he generally is picking up what's going on and he chimes in when he wants. So I think that was some selective understanding of English when he was given a game misconduct and he was like, awesome. I totally got it.
Yeah,
And
I
also
heard the
the
explanation
big-
was he just doesn't speak English, so he didn't know that he got thrown out of the game. So I don't know what to believe here.
I think he knew that he got.
I think that, yeah, he definitely he knows hockey. He knows more English than he lets on. And the other takeaway that we had from our interview was that he calls himself Big Boss, and he says, "I am Big Boss."
That's the
And
most
so
amazing thing
this
I
seemed
ever
like an example of him just being like, "I make the rules here."
Yeah, he big bossed him. We've all been there.
Captain now.
Big Boston.
I like it.
The final boss. He's the Rock now. The Stars Avalanche matchup as we go into the Stanley Cup playoffs here. That's going to be a big one, and I think the biggest X factor here is the return of Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen facing his old team. What do you think, Pete? Do you think I'm right?
I don't know. This series has like a dwindling energy to it because I feel like the more and more I talk to people about this series, everybody's leaning so heavily in Colorado's favor just based off of the way that Dallas has fallen off over the past like month and change. And we had Dmitry Filipovich on our show yesterday. He was like, the Stars cannot defend over this past month. So given like the long-standing concerns on the right side of their defense, the uncertainty of whether Miro Heiskanen comes back, like I have nervous energy heading into this game. And as far as the Gabriel Landeskog factor, like the guy hasn't played in 2 years. We can take like two AHL games off the table. Being reinserted into the NHL and playing your first games in a couple of years in the playoffs, 3 years in the playoffs, directly being inserted against a pretty good team, whether or not they're struggling in Dallas. Like, I would have very, very limited expectations from what you're going to get out of Gabriel Landeskog.
Yeah, I've been kind of talked out of loving this series. I was really, really excited for it. Outside of Edmonton, I absolutely love the Avalanche in the Western Conference, and I've been trying to hype this up, and Pete and Sean have slowly chipped away at like, you've been watching the Stars. Like, you know that they are an absolute mess defensively, and Heiskanen. They've convinced me it could be a shorter series than I thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to me, isn't the biggest X factor Miro Heiskanen's health? Because if he doesn't play, like, this could be a quick series, in my opinion, because they have been, like DJ just mentioned, they have been a mess for the last 20 games ever since he went out. Right, he missed since Forced Nation, so it's like they're just all over the place right now. And yeah, it does feel like some of the steam has been taken out of this series as long as he's not going to be available.
There was a really good meme that was going around after Paige Beckers was drafted, and it said they traded Luka because they couldn't handle all that star power. And it was Paige Beckers, it was Luka Doncic, and it was Cody Ceci. And someone responded and said, LOL, why did you choose a third pairing defenseman on the Stars? And I was that rando stranger that responded to it and was like, what third defenseman? Cody Ceci is like the most important player on your team. Your defense sucks.
He's arguably your best right shot defenseman right now.
Like, maybe that post wasn't a joke.
So, guys, we've obviously talked a lot about the Washington Capitals this year and the amazing season they had, and Alex Ovechkin. I look at them as not that dissimilar from the Panthers a couple of years ago when the Panthers won the President's Trophy, a very exciting, high-flying team. I'm curious how that will carry over into the playoffs. However, a couple of players on the Capitals, obviously we talked a lot about Logan Thompson and the year he had. Is Jacob Chychrun getting enough credit for the year that he had with the Capitals? Because he came over there from Ottawa, is he still going to be that guy? And I feel like he had a monster year and not enough guys are talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's really everything they did has worked.
Yeah.
And Chychrun, I'd say Chychrun is second or third on the list. Like, Thompson has been awesome, but I'm still kind of waiting for Logan Thompson to be what Logan Thompson has been for the balance of his career. Chychrun and PLD are the two ones that I look at as like those guys. I don't think that Chychrun needed fixing, but I think that he maybe needed like just a full, strong year to answer whatever questions existed about him. And then PLD is the other one where suddenly that's not a bad contract anymore. And he looks like he's going to be a star and get Selke votes in the coming years. So everything they've done has worked. And when you ask if Chychrun's gotten enough credit, I feel like the best story about this team, other than the Ovechkin chase, is that all these guys they got, all these castoffs have been studs. But when the story is as good as Ovechkin breaking the goals record, it's understandable for everyone to overlook everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, the Chychrun thing is like he might be overlooked in terms of what he's doing this year by like a wide audience, but it's certainly not being overlooked by the guys that traded for him and the guys assembling that team because he got his big contract extension. They're paying him like a number one defenseman for a long time. And so I think it's a bit of a gamble based off of like, he is killing it in a contract year. How is that going to sustain, especially like if the team performance dips? So like, I'm interested in the Chychrun of it all, especially during a playoff run. Like how big is his load going to be? How much is he going to produce offensively? Because he's had a monster year offensively. And so I do think that if Washington's going to make a massive run here and go deep, Chychrun's going to have to be a big central part of it.
He's also a non-asshole version of Aaron Rodgers, which in the coming years, we don't know if he's going to be like, guys, we should be eating the water bottles actually and not drinking from them.
So let me ask you guys, don't you kind of feel like on the flip side of things, I know Montreal kind of snuck in, they limped in at the end here, but don't you feel like if you're Washington, you have to take a 2-0 lead back to Centre Bell because of the energy that's going to be in that building for those 2 games?
It's the Bell Center.
Yeah, we're in America.
It's Centre Bell.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
fuck
you.
Somebody that's
No.
actually been to Centre Bell.
Boo! No.
You just say it
Good
again?
behavior. Good behavior. It's Centre Bell. Say it. That's
Thank
the name
you.
of it.
Centre
No,
we
it's
Bell.
not.
say what the name of it is.
Saying
It
it's
is
Maga
not.
Pete over
We're
here
Florida.
hates when people speak other languages. Roy, I know that's you as well, but let's take politics aside of it. You just classic Americans making everything about like, hey, learn if you don't like the language. Please, let's respect everybody, shall we? Centre Bell.
I agree.
I listen. That place is unbelievable, and it's going to be unbelievable for
May I
this
ask you a
playoff series.
question?
Don't you feel like they
you a
need to?
question.
Don't you feel like the Caps need to take a 2-0 lead going back there?
I mean, I would say the Caps have been playing with their food, but I think they've only had alcohol for the last 3 weeks. I think that the Capitals, while a great story, and I've loved them all season, if the Capitals don't watch it, they could be upset. And I don't know if it's by the Canadiens because the Canadiens just aren't that good of a team, but I'm talking second round, somebody can get them. And maybe, yeah, if they don't take a 2-0 lead, maybe this does become a series.
Yeah, I mean, like I think the Canadiens are a flawed team. I wouldn't say that they're not a good team. Like they're a very exciting flawed team, especially defensively. So like if you're Washington, you have to take advantage of that immediately. Early on in the series, kind of establish dominance. You have been one of the best teams in the league all year long. You've been one of the best offensive teams in the league all year long. Take advantage of that like strength versus weakness, offense versus defense. If you let the Canadiens get one of the first 2 games, take some momentum back home into Montreal and feel really good about their like underdog, scrappy youngster vibes, it's you're playing with fire there, especially for a Washington team that has not been there as a group, like as this current group before. Like they need to make quick business in the first round, I think.
I'm treating this Oilers Kings series kind of like those bad Caraco TriStar canon films of the 80s where you got bad sequels. Like this is Kings Oilers 4, The Armageddon. Like they've played way too many times. 4 straight years that
Police
they're going
Academy
to
5.
Police Academy 5. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, let's talk about Darnell Nurse. Like, what are we doing here? Cross check to the face of Quentin Byfield. And he gets 1 game. 1 game. Just happened to be the last game of the regular season. Now he's back for the first round. Like, should he have gotten more? He's a repeat offender. He's been suspended before. In fact, he's been suspended 3 times, and 2 of those suspensions have been lifted. Should he have gotten more than 1 game?
I think our producer Sean has nailed it, which is if there were more games in the regular season, it would have been 2 or 3 games. But if you go by the 1 playoff game equals 3 regular season games, then if you give him 2 games into the playoffs, you're giving him a 4-game suspension, which is a little much. And I think that they just kind of rounded down instead of rounding way up. This would be a much easier call if there were more games left in the regular season.
And he's the big Oilers guy. So like I will, if you want to attach bias to that, you can. But I do agree. Like I've sort of come off my strong stance here. I thought that he was going to get 2 or 3 games. But the more that I've seen it, and I did see like the net cam angle that I hadn't seen previously, it looked way less egregious from the net cam, which is the best look at it. And it's just kind of like, I initially thought that it was a cross check to the back of the head, pushing his face into the ice with force. It's still a greasy play, but it was more of like a little shove into the ice. You do want to get rid of that, and it is definitely suspendable. I was fine with 1 game, especially with, the playoff conversion. I think it's fine to give him 1 game and then just move on.
Evander Kane has not played since Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, and he's listed as week to week. Do you think he's going to end up playing? Because I don't think he's going to end up playing.
I mean, from what the Oilers are saying, I don't know if they're just like going to make up and bring back players that like if like Oscar Klefbom's going to be there or something. But if you listen to what they say, whether it's Connor McDavid or Chris Knobloch, there's been a lot of like, hey, the perception of us health-wise is a little off. That's all we'll say. And McDavid has said, like, we're seen as the walking wounded, but I think that you guys will find that we're not as banged up as you think. And that tells me that maybe everybody but Matthias Ekholm will be back, including Evander Kane.
Yep, but I also listen to that quote and I'm like, well, people are writing off the Oilers and people think that they are the walking dead because they've spent the entire last month playing with 0 players.
Yes.
Like, we know that some of these guys are going to come back for the playoffs. The question is, like, how ready are they going to be? How healthy and effective are they going to be? And like writing off the Oilers is not simply because of the fact that they've been so injured over the past month. It's also that this is a better version of the Kings that we've seen in each of the first 3 installments of the series. So you can talk about like the sequel part of it and the Police Academy 5 of it all.
The Armageddon.
I am actually excited for this series, maybe more than I have been for any of the previous iterations. Like for me, this is more Mission Impossible, where it seems like it's only getting stronger as the series goes along.
But do either of you guys have the balls to actually pick the Kings?
Yes, I
have.
I don't know that I do.
I'm going to be very mad at myself if the Oilers win, because there's plenty of reason to think that the Oilers still got this in them and that they can go on a deep run here. But based on the uncertainty factor from Edmonton and the fact that I really like what I've seen from LA over the past, I guess, like 2 months since the Four Nations break, they're an awesome defensive team. They get goaltending. I do believe that they're kind of catching a little bit of a spark offensively. I think that they can beat, and I'm saying that they will beat the Oilers in that first round.
I think that there's 2 teams that are that have the potential to make us feel like such fucking freaking idiots. Maybe 3, actually, if you factor in the Panthers. I think it's the Oilers. I think it's the Capitals, where you ask questions about them going into the playoffs, and legitimately after 1 game of the postseason, we might be like, oh my God, that was so stupid. Okay, I'm so sorry. Like Leon Draisaitl might score 5 goals in the first game, and you're like, oh, it could be Leon Draisaitl and literally anybody else, and they're just going to win these games. We haven't seen McDavid and Draisaitl together not together, like in the same lineup. I'm not talking playing together since March 18th. It's been a long time. They've also been without, and I agree with Pete, like I like LA's offense, but we're putting that up against a lineup that we legitimately have never seen before that is going to have down the middle Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who has been awesome when he's been healthy the last couple of months, and Adam Henrique with Trent Frederick and probably Corey Perry on his line. Offensively, they are going to be freaking loaded, but doesn't matter if Stu Skinner is horrible.
Rosie.
I have a question. So these 2 guys, their team is the Panthers, undeniably. Which one is your team?
Guys.
Like, is your team the Oilers, DJ, and Pete yours? I don't know which one.
It's the Bruins, right, Pete?
Mine are the Bruins. They are nowhere to be found over the next couple of months, so don't have to worry about that.
That's why you hate Marchand.
I don't hate Marchand.
Yeah, Pete hates Marchand.
No, he doesn't hate Marchand.
I love Marchand. I hate
that
that he plays for the
we
Panthers.
have Marchand now. Yes.
You guys are in full rebuild now, aren't you?
Yeah, I would say that. The front office says no. They say it's a retool, and it might be a hybrid retool rebuild, but there's not a whole lot to look forward to at this point. So I would call that a rebuild.
Are you supposed to have your second round pick when you're in a rebuild, or do you not need those?
I don't know. I'm not in charge of rebuilds.
Right. But I'm saying like they're entering this rebuild, and the only thing they have some later picks and everything. They have like second round picks that are later in the round. Like they don't even have their own second round pick. They're going to finish, I don't know, that's going to be like the 5th pick of the second round, something like that. And that's gone. Like they have kicked the can down the road so many times. Yeah. And now that the bill is due, they just don't have the cash, and they don't have the prospects at all. They might stink for a long time. And it stinks because like I love the Oilers. They're my favorite team, but like Bruins are like my family. And it's tough to see your family go through something.
Yeah, but it's also like there is the bones of this family still exist. And like, if things go right and they nail a lot of parts of what they're trying to do in the retool rebuild, they can be back sooner than a lot of people expect. My only concern is that they're leaving the same people in charge that have failed in a number of different areas to try to keep this thing alive. So I would feel a little bit more enthusiastic about where we're headed if it were a different group of people in charge.
So I'm just gonna tell you, Bruins. I like that it's Bruins because it's one flight away. Edmonton. I wish I could like them, but it's too many flights. So yeah, that's
don't say it, Ethan. Don't say it.
Yeah, don't say
These
it. Ethan.
guys.
Thank you.
And they're complaining about going to the Stanley Cup final, which they asked to do.
I've been to 3 of
can't
them.
stand it.
Thank you.
Good. You sound like you're complaining about that. I don't want to hear it.
I didn't say a word.
Brad Marchand.
Shut
However
up.
his name is.
Dave.
Guys, we'd be remiss if we had you on and didn't ask you a little bit about the playoff series that we're going to be elbows deep in, and that's Panthers Lightning for the 4th time
Nipples
in
deep.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say balls deep, but I kept it clean. But now you got me.
I mean, this is Tampa, Florida here with the deep.
Yeah, let's go. Obviously, Tampa a little bit different than last year. No Stamkos, but Gensel's been awesome. Kucherov, Art Ross winner, possibly Hart Trophy guy. Vasilevsky, vintage Vasi. I don't know. I'm still taking the Panthers in 7, but what do you guys think? How's this going to play out?
Yeah, I also lean Panthers, but like I said, they're the other team that we're talking ourselves into why they could lose in the first round. And it makes sense because everybody should respect the Lightning. But at the end of the day, if Tkachuk is back and you have Tkachuk and Marchand and Bennett, like they're just going to be such a nightmare to play against. And we're in year 2 of saying someone who wants to make a playoff run, get Seth Jones, because he's not what he once was, but he can eat minutes. And for a team that lost their leader in minutes on the back end, the Panthers were the smartest team to go out and get Seth Jones. I don't think he's going to be spectacular, but I think that they will benefit greatly from having another absolute horse back there. Vasilevsky, I would say, wins the goaltending matchup, but I think this is going to be close, and I would still pick the Panthers to get out of the first round.
Yeah, I think it's close. I'm going to lean the Lightning just based off of they have one of the best, they have the best line in the series. They have the best goaltender in the series. And I'm uncertain about what you're going to get from Matthew Tkachuk. And if Tkachuk is great, then that might shift my leaning towards the Panthers. But right now, I feel like the margins on this series are very, very thin. And I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a war. And I honestly, I worry about whichever team even comes out of this series based off of what they might look like at the end of it and how depleted they could be in the second round.
You also have to remember our guy, Brad Marchand, has been hurt for a lot of the last however many months, and he is playing for a contract. And this is going to be a big, big moment for him. He's had massive moments over the years in the postseason. The stage is set for him. I think that if he's healthy and if he's right, he'll go off.
Come on, Pete. I know you want to root for us. I know you want to watch Marchand lift the cup.
know
It's so
I know
weird.
You want to see it. I know you.
It's
do,
so
man.
weird that I'm the Panthers, not supporter, but Panthers
adjacent.
No, we're both Panthers respecters.
Yeah.
I want Brad Marchand to have an awesome postseason. I want the Panthers to get to make a run.
Listen,
that would be awesome.
I wouldn't cry about it. I like Marchand, and it does benefit the Bruins in terms of the conditions on the draft pick that were sent over for him. I would like the first round pick, but at the same time, I don't care about your happiness in South Florida. I don't. I could care less if you win or
you
not.
want everybody in the chat to be miserable. That's okay, Pete.
I mean, look at it this way. At least there'll be a one-day contract for Brad Marchand one of these days so he can retire Bruin. I mean, that's pretty inevitable, right?
I mean, I wouldn't rule out him coming back in the offseason. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, DJ Pete. You can find him on What Chaos, and it's basically a daily show about hockey. All right, real quick, let's go over the series ourselves. Let's do predictions here. Panthers, Lightning. All right, Dave, what you got?
I got Panthers in 7. I think it's going to be a fun series, a deep series. I'm excited for it, and let's move that train down to the second round.
All right, Ethan?
I'm not going to lie. The last few days I've started to feel a little more worried than I expected to feel. I think it's a lot of the noise that's coming out in terms of people favoring the Lightning. I still think the Panthers are the better team. They're the deeper team. I like their forward depth more than I like the Lightning's forward depth. And I just think with Tkachuk coming back, Marchand in the fold, I think Marchand has a big goal in him somewhere. Vasilevsky terrifies me, but I still think the Panthers are the better team. They're too good in the end. I'm going to take Panthers in 6.
All right, Rosie.
I'm taking Panthers because Barkov is there. So
How many games, Rosie?
I think it's gonna be a 7 game also.
Oof.
Yeah,
We're going to Tampa for game 7.
Yeah, we're going to Tampa for game 7. So.
All right. I got Florida in 6. Even though it's going to end up being in 7 because we have to go to Tampa. We have to celebrate. They'll win at Burns Steakhouse. I swear to goodness, I want to go to Burns to have a steak.
I love that
delicious.
plan.
Yeah, so
I love
that's
that plan.
So if all else fails, it will be Florida in 7. But I'm going with Florida in 6.
Well, you know what? If they win in 6, that would be what, on a Saturday or
That'd
Friday?
Be a Saturday at home.
So we just drive up to Tampa the next day and celebrate in their backyard and have a Burns steak anyway.
No,
Sounds like
we party here.
All right, fine. We'll party here. All right. For Rose, for Ethan, for Dave, for Jason, for Mike, for myself, thank you for joining us this week on The Hockey Show.
Thank our guests.
And, by the way, DJ Bean, Pete Blackburn, we appreciate you. We
Awesome.
love you, boys. All right, you can find that on YouTube every single week and DraftKings Network. Thank you for joining us this week. Okay, goodbye.
Gracias a todos. Y si no me entienden, pues ustedes no me entienden.
English.
No, speech of impediment.